often people teaching music say to me, "Oh, look, I can't teach music that well because I can't read music." It's actually not that important. Of course, at some stage when you're dealing with, more advanced students and, pure instrumental teaching, it's a very important skill. But for what we're doing, which is getting young people started with the idea of making sounds, experimenting with objects, working together in groups and creating pieces, understanding this process of sound, the traditional reading of music, we can save for another day. All right, so this leads to a question about the score, because inevitably people start talking about scores in music, and they are important, but the score is not the piece. And again, for what we're doing in the classroom, think of the score as a way of storing ideas, a way of generating ideas, but also mainly a method of getting started and a way of enabling a group to negotiate, work together, interact, and bounce off one another to play a piece. So this thing of storing ideas is a good way of thinking of a score, because it's like a little guide sheet or an instruction manual or a map or a diagram or an image with some text. It doesn't even have to have any treble clefs or any notes or any definite rhythms. It can be more just the overall impression of the piece or certain directions or perhaps the subject matter or certain textures. The students will know how to do this. They're all good at manipulating images and making collages and cutting things out and sticking things on. You can borrow techniques from visual art and the art room. Think about the line and think about the color, think about the texture, think about the space and the format. All these sorts of like media and arts terms directly apply to making sound as well. So in that vein, I wouldn't even worry too much about making a distinction between graphic scores and the so-called conventional scores. I personally think that terminology is a little bit dated now, because there are all sorts of things that constitute scores. Now, they don't have to be even written on paper. A score is a score. It's a way of getting started. It's a way of storing ideas for a piece. I've played works before where I've had the audience holding up cards with suggestions for notes and different instructions, which the musicians have reacted to. In another situation, we've walked around amongst the players and whispered instructions to them and stuff. So all these things are scores as well, believe it or not. They don't have to be written, inscribed on paper to be officially a score in music. You're seeing some images here, some different examples of scores, and some do include conventional musical symbols. Others are more just lists of, certain instructions to the players. Some of them are shapes. You get the idea. One exercise you can try is to have the students listen to some music, and it just can be a song or anything at all, and have them draw along quite freely to the sounds and just reacting to what they hear. And then in a subsequent class, you could take these pictures, forget the original song, and just translate them back into sound. As soon as you have a few constraints or a few ideas on the page, off it goes. A few things to bounce off, a few parameters make the creative playing much more fun and in many cases much easier. So see how you go. Make some scores, but most importantly, make some sounds, and the scores help organize those sounds and maybe remember them for another day. Okay, I'll see you soon.